Am I the a-hole for not sharing my stepdad's inheritance with my brother? My 25 female dad passed when I was very young, and my mom married my stepdad Lee when I was 5. Lee is wealthy, and my mom never had to work, and I was given everything growing up. The only thing we never received was acceptance from Lee's family, as they were not pleased that Lee chose to marry a widow with a child. Lee and I were close though, and he continued to care for me even after my brother Sam, 18, was born. My mom clearly favored Sam and didn't really focus much on me. Lee's relatives warmed up to my mom a little with the birth of Sam, but I was still treated like something invisible. Sam was often invited to Lee's relatives' houses to play, and he and I are not very close. I decided to go to university overseas, and Lee gave me enough money that I didn't have to work or worry financially. He also was the only one calling or writing me regularly, while I talked to my mom and Sam like once every couple of months during my university days. After graduation, Lee wanted me to come home, but I wanted to work and be on my own for a bit. Then the pandemic happened and I was unable to fly back. When the lockdown was over, my family came to visit me once and left when I preferred to continue working where I am. Lee came to visit me a few more times by himself. A few months ago, Lee passed away from a disease he never let anyone know he had. In his will, he left his businesses and house and most valuables to his relatives. My mom almost nothing, though she can keep what he has already given her. 2 cars, jewelry, and cash of about $60,000 as my mom never legally married him. Sam about $150,000 and the rest of the money to me. It was 7-figure US dollars, a life-changing amount. Turns out Sam is not Lee's biological child, which he found out only recently. My mom and Sam were mad, of course, and demanded that I share money with them. I said I'm willing to put the money in some low-risk investments, and we can split the gain, but it's not good enough. They want at least 25% each of what Lee left me. I argued that it's not like they are left destitute. Sam can still go to a good university if he cares enough for further education, and my mom have enough money to get her own place. And the investments will give us all incomes for the long term. They called me greedy and planned to take legal action, but Lee's relatives told them that they could make my mom and Sam's lives very difficult if they try to give me a hard time and go against Lee's wishes. I intend to do as I promised them, splitting the gains from the investment with my mom and Sam. I won't let them touch the money Lee left me though, because I don't trust them to not go through that money in just a few years. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You aren't his biological daughter, but a daughter he chose. Splitting the gains is already nice from you, but don't give your mother too much. Otherwise, she will pay a lawyer to sue you. Not the a-hole. What if the roles were reversed and you barely got anything? Would they share with you? This. If Opie shares the gains, where or when will it end? Her mother and brother will feel entitled for a lifetime, when Lee specifically left that money for Opie. Not the a-hole. The best way to honor Lee's wishes is to let them have exactly what he wanted, and no more. They aren't entitled to what Lee plainly didn't want them to have. That is the best and legal response I would suggest. Why open a can of worms? Just be calm and relax. Just think about why that person left them with so little. Exactly what I was thinking. Based on the post, it seems that Lee definitely had his reasons for doing what he did. Not the a-hole. There's a reason you got what you got and they got what they got. Also, good job on Lee's relatives stepping up for you and your late stepdad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my mother a freaking monster as she was having a mental breakdown? For a while, I was a single father of 3 lovely boys, ages 7 to 5. When my oldest 2 were 1, my ex-girlfriend and I split after I found out she cheated multiple times. We decided to co-parent, but she was incredibly distant from the family. 4 months after she gave birth to my youngest son, she decided that she wasn't ready to be a mother and left. I haven't seen her since. Growing up, my mom envisioned a very specific life plan for me. She's always wanted to control my life, my education, career, and romantic relationships. My mom loved my ex-girlfriend, my son's bio mom. To her, she was the perfect woman. Even after I told her the details of my ex walking out on my family, she still adores her. My mom even blames me for her leaving me. Oh, you must have done something to make her leave. Oh, you probably didn't treat her like a gentleman, etc. It's emotionally taxing, and I don't speak to her much. To her, I'll always be a failure, a disappointment, and she has made her thoughts very clear to me. My girlfriend Fiona and I have been dating for 3 years. When I met her, I wasn't actively looking for a relationship, but I'm so incredibly happy I met her. She's wonderful, and I can't wait for her to officially be a part of my family. The boys love her as well. My youngest even call her mom, and I love her. My mom, of course, does not. She does not like Fiona at all because she's not my ex, and thank God she isn't. And Fiona will never be good enough for her. My dad invited us to celebrate my mom's birthday. My dad told me that if I brought Fiona, he would ensure that there would be no drama. I wish it was a nice, calm afternoon spent with family. But my mom is a heavy drinker, and late into the afternoon after having way too much to drink, she starts playfully chasing my son around the yard. He got scared, crying, and runs to Fiona. My mom, extremely drunk, begins to curse out a 7-year-old boy from running away from her. Fiona interjects and yells at my mom that she can't yell at her son. Her words. This sets mom off. After hearing Fiona refer to the children as her own, my mom begins ranting loudly about how Fiona will never be the boys' bio mom, their real mom, and how their real mother would have never poisoned their heads and caused them to be afraid of their own grandmother. Fiona is in shock, but I loudly yell back, "Maybe my kids are scared of you because you're a freaking monster." Fiona, the kids, and I left shortly after. My dad texted me. He told me that I shouldn't have called my mother a monster when she was clearly having a breakdown. My mom is having a hard time accepting Fiona, and hearing Fiona was probably the last straw. He's encouraging me to apologize before my mom apologizes. He wants to clear the air and everything to return to normal, but I don't want to do that. Not the a-hole. There is a difference between a breakdown and a tantrum. Your mom was having the latter. Personally, I wouldn't want someone in my life who treated me, my significant other, and my kids poorly. I was about to say, that's not a breakdown. That's an angry drunk. I'm somewhat at a loss for words here. Does Opie's dad see nothing wrong with an adult drunkenly chasing a child around until the child flees in terror to a safe adult? After that, it would have to skew severely sideways for me to think Opie could possibly be the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Nope. The father sounds like an enabling doormat, forever singing, "Sit down, you'll rock the boat." Not the a-hole. Your mom was being toxic, and if I were you, I would cut contact with her. I'm happy you seem to have met a lovely woman that sees your kids as her own. I wish you, Fiona, and the kids the best. Do not apologize. Your dad is enabling her behavior. Right. Opie, you need to go no contact with your mom. Your kids do not need to have those memories or such a toxic relationship in their lives. You suffered through it, but they don't need to. Also, marry Fiona. Clearly, she loves your kids and they seem to love her. And then, move. Release the toxicity from your life. Not the a-hole. Your father wants to keep the peace by not holding your mother accountable for her actions. It sounds like a bad environment for your family. You'd be well within your rights to go no contact or low contact with your mother. Spineless fathers and abusive mothers, a much too common occurrence. Everybody sucks here. Your mother for obvious reasons. You for continuing to subject your kids and Fiona to the company of a freaking monster. There's been plenty of history here. Don't act like your mother's behavior was some surprise. If you won't drop contact with your mother, at least interact with her on your own. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sarcastically congratulating my dad? So when I, 17 female, was 5, my dad left my mom and me. Since then, I saw him maybe 3 to 4 times at family functions. And from family, I found out he got married and had other kids. I figured he wouldn't have been a good dad, just because of the type of dad he's been to me my whole life. Yesterday was my great-grandma's 100th birthday, so we were doing a big party for her. A few days ago, I found out from my grandma my dad is going to be there, and more than likely with his kids. I was still going to go though, because I've always been close to my great-grandma. About an hour of me being at this party, my dad, his wife, and their 2 kids walk in. The kids were about 3 and 6 years old. I watched them off and on through the party. My dad was actually being a dad. He was playing with his kids and listening to them, even had cute nicknames for them. Then my dad came up to me and said pretty much, hey Opie, how have you been? It's been a while. I will admit, I was upset seeing my dad act like the person he never was to me and has never put in the effort. So I said I'm okay, and then pointed over to his kids and said, congrats on actually being a dad this time around. My dad got mad and said he's sorry, but he can't change the past. But he never even puts up an effort now to call or text me or wants to come to visit me. I then had other family members tell me I need to grow up and get over it, and now be happy for my dad. So am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Get over being abandoned by your father? More than your dad, his family is the a-hole. Clearly, they enabled him, not the a-hole. 100% agree. Your father needs to own his crappy behavior and treat you with the respect you deserve. Also, Opie's still a minor. It's not like she's 35 with kids of her own and the ship has pretty much sailed on being a parent. Dad could absolutely still step up and be a parent to Opie now. But he's got his shiny new family and don't give a hoot, I guess. Absolutely pathetic. Opie's not the a-hole in the slightest. Not the a-hole. The past? Okay. Then it's his responsibility to fix it in the present and for the future. His deadbeat bum didn't even try. If anything, you were too nice. Should have given a lot of choice words to him. It's not even the past. Opie is still a minor. He could be co-parenting her right now. Instead, he's treating her like an awkward ex at a high school reunion. Not the a-hole. Abandoned by your father, scorned by your family, plus sarcastic quips. This is the making of a real superhero's origin. So take your wings, my child, and dump buckets of bird poop on your villainous father and his minions, so that their outer appearances may resemble the crap they are on the inside. Not the a-hole. Your words are pure poetry, and true AF to boot. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my son he has to be respectful if he wants to live with us? My ex-wife and I got divorced 13 years ago when our son was 5. 2 years later, she moved to another city about an hour away. Our custody agreement was that our son would stay a month with me and 1 with her. But when the pandemic started, our son moved in with his mom because she lives in a house with a garden. During that time, we talked on the phone a lot and I'd pick him up on weekends. He started uni in April and moved back in with me for that as it's closer for him. I don't expect him to pay rent, but he is supposed to help in the household. Not excessively, but picking up after himself and keeping his room clean. Last October, my girlfriend of 3 years and her daughter who is 5 moved in with me. My son didn't have a problem with that when he decided to move here. Most days, my son has uni until about 4 p.m. and will come home, make himself food and then go to his room to study or go out with friends. The problem is that he often leaves a mess in the kitchen. I told my girlfriend not to clean up after him as he is old enough to do that himself. But she still does it sometimes when she needs to use the dishes. I get home around 6 p.m. and if I see that there is still a mess, I will confront him about it. He usually grumbles a bit but eventually cleans it up. Yesterday came home to find the kitchen in absolute chaos and my girlfriend close to tears in the living room. When I asked what happened, she told me my son had once again made himself something to eat but left everything he used out. This time she'd been in a hurry as she wanted to make her daughter a quick lunch before dropping her off at a birthday party and didn't have time to clean up first. When she asked my son if he could put his used dishes away, he apparently got angry and told her to buzz off. He used few more words that I don't want to translate and ended up shutting the door in her face. I went to his room to confront him and he again told me to leave him alone. We had a fight and I told him if he wanted to keep living here, he had to show some respect. Not only by cleaning up after himself, but also in the way he talked to my girlfriend. He then left to stay with a friend, but not before calling me an a-hole and I haven't heard from him since. Part of me is thinking I shouldn't have let him move back because of his behavior. But on the other hand, he is my son, and it's very difficult to find a place to live right now, especially for students. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? If this is really the whole story, not the a-hole, your son should be expected to clean up. And the way this was communicated was not unreasonable. But I feel like there is more to the story. I feel like you and a lot of r/AITA readers usually want there to be more to the story. So it's a nuanced and complicated tale of morality and judgment. But the simplest explanation is often the correct one, and this would not be the first 18-year-old/college kid to be disrespectful to a step-parent and not clean up after themselves. On the flip side, these stories are always curated by one person. You assume that every poster is subjective when it's something many people aren't capable of. Info: could it be that there is more going on in the background? Did you know your girlfriend prior to living with her? Why is your girlfriend one always at home? Could it be that she maybe said or did something you don't know about? Does she work and pay rent? Also, you didn't include any ages. How old are you and your girlfriend? Anyway, based on the info you gave, not a-hole. He is acting very entitled. My girlfriend works part-time so she can pick up her daughter from kindergarten, but will go full-time once her daughter gets older. I can't imagine anything serious happening between them without one or the other telling me about it. It isn't like they're spending the whole day together. It's mostly just 2 to 3 hours until I get home, and my son spends most of that time in his room. She does contribute to rent payments. I don't think our ages were relevant, but my son is 18, my girlfriend is 27, and I'm 37. Your requests are reasonable. Clean up after himself and be respectful to other members of the household. Pretty easy asks, in my opinion, for free room and board. If he wants to be a slob, he's an adult. He can find somewhere else to live, not a-hole. I'm actually surprised at this behavior because when he was staying with just me, he'd always do his chores and never talk to me this way when I reminded him. My kids were like this after their first year at university. They wanted to be viewed as adults, yet trashed the kitchen constantly. If I asked them to clean up, I was called a few choice words and was nagging. It worked out after some persistence on our part. We all laugh a bit about it now.